Hotep Sinuena Sinut. ET. Ren Isha Kandugu. Hope you're doing well. As usual, I'm going to check the sound. Sounds good, that's beautiful. So, the title of this video is Who is Lying? Reggie said, I'm helping Garfield. Parenthesis, for his debate with Jabari Osaze. I'm sorry, for his debate with Jabari Osaze. Now, Reggie doesn't need to worry. I'm not going to blast him. Some of you might have seen and heard Garfield stating publicly that Reggie is not helping him for his upcoming debate versus Jabari. I think he said, cut it out. Reggie's not helping me, so cut it out. Um, a day or two ago, I've shown you the screen print where we could see that Reggie has shared during the live stream the PDF presentation of the opening round. And for those who haven't seen it, I'm going to share it. All right. So you're free to pause this video and to read what it says. Okay. So I suspected, because of this alone, that Regis was indeed helping Garfield. But now we have a confirmation from the horse's mouth. So what I'm going to do first is give you the source, which is our brother Smash Rockwell's live stream. Less than okay, that was yesterday, 23 hours ago so far. But maybe if I refresh the page, they might say 24. It's called Cult of ISIS Late Night Studies, and the YouTube account is Smash SMASH space Rockwell ROCKWELL. And now I'm going to share the chat. I'm sorry, I'm going to share the link on the chat. Now the timestamp is hour 1 minute 29 and second 24, and I'm going to just stream straight from this timestamp. See, it's the video here. Is it sharing well? Yes, it is. So let's listen to our brother Reggie.
And so I think really you holding on to a grudge, and I don't want you to get blinded by that. And just you got to move on, move past that
Okay,
one.
you know how I moved on? Smash doesn't like it, but I'm helping Garfield, right? Uh, to to see, and we're gonna see whose research in general is poor. So Garfield doesn't need my help, but there's some things that I can help him on, but he doesn't need my help, right? But I'm so I will do it that way.
All right. So Reggie said it himself. He said, I'm helping Garfield. He even said, Smash doesn't like it. So apparently, Smash knows more than the public know. Smash knows more than the public does. And you can see that there's a little bit of conflict, because he says once that Garfield doesn't need his help. And then he moves on and he says again, he doesn't need my help. You see? So this might be a short live stream because it's about to be midnight in New York. but I have a little bit of time before I head to work. Who is lying? Which one of the two is lying? I don't think Reggie is lying. I think Brother Reggie is telling the truth. So it is safe to say that Garfield is lying. Garfield, why are you lying? You can't be lying like that. Why are you lying, Garfield? I mean, it's not a huge revelation. I mean, we know how you get down. You always need your crew's help. So it's not surprising that some people help you. At least one, but I'm sure there's more than one person that's helping you. Why do you lie to the public like that? What do you gain out of it? Imhotep 360, how you doing? He wrote, I knew Reggie was a snake. No, why would we call Reggie a snake? Reggie is helping Garfield. I mean, we have Jabari Osaze on one hand, and we have Garfield on the other hand. Garfield needs all the help he can get. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Garfield begged Reggie to help him. So somebody's begging for help and you're providing the help. That's not being a snake. I mean, this time, uh, um, um, okay, well, yeah, it is somebody's going against some comedic person, once more, but it's not new. That happened before, you know. So, and that that Garfield and Dr. Carrier thing never sat well with me. Well, brother, why do you go on Garfield's platform then? And why does Mr. Vegas, if that is really him, goes on Garfield's platform then? Because after that live stream where I heard that person that is apparently Mr. Vegas, he returned there again. What is it with our people? But it's okay. Everybody's free to do what they want. I saw Garfield and Jabari having a sit down last week, and Garfield looked shaken. It's not surprising. Garfield knows that he's not even close to Jabari's level. And it's obvious, like I've said, and many other people have said it as well. The only claim of victory that Garfield will pronounce is, well, the title says stolen. He hasn't shown, he hasn't proven that it was stolen. So I won the debate. So he lost the debate. So he didn't win the debate. And that's why they're in here, putting up this narrative, you know. But what I'm most interested with is either Garfield is lying or Reggie is lying. And I personally think that on this one, Reggie is telling the truth. I mean, once again, we, once again, Reggie was live on Smash Rockwell's YouTube account, and he presented some slides, and he had this up, and he obviously put this up by mistake because he did not read this. So if he put it on the screen, if he shared it, he probably had it open. He might have had several or at least two PowerPoint program or software open, and he shared the wrong one. And it was on the screen for a while as Reggie was talking, and I've shown that in the last the my video before last, the one before last. So this is a proof, not just this, because some people, they like to be slick and they might argue, well, I'm just reviewing it, helping him out with the format and the spelling. But this time, I don't know if you heard it, but for the benefit of the court, let's present Exhibit A.
I think really you holding on to a grudge, and I don't want you to get blinded by that. And just you got to move on, move past that
Okay,
one.
you know how I moved on? Smash doesn't like it, but I'm helping Garfield, right? Uh, to to see and we're gonna see whose research in general is poor. So Garfield doesn't need my help, but there's some things that I can help him on, but he doesn't need my help, right? But I'm so I will do it that way. I am very, very passive aggressive.
I like the ending of this part. Now, he said, I'm helping Garfield to, he started stuttering. He couldn't just outright say, to beat Jabari for his debate or to go against Jabari for the debate. You see? And he said, we're going to see who's, I forgot if you use the word scholarship or methodology, is poor. And before that, I gave you the timestamp and the video. See, I've shared it in the chat. So everybody's free to go and look at the Smash Rockwell's video, once again called Court of ISIS Late Night Studies. Before that, Reggie said, but he has already uh, told before, that there was a discussion between Jabari and um, and Reggie, and Reggie touched on something about the car and the bar, and he said it's not just spirit. And Reggie just said that he informed that it's more than spirit. You have the and anyway, Jabari said that Reggie's methodology or scholarship was poor on this point or on that point. You can go and listen. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not making an exact quote. I did not write what he said because you can hear it for yourselves. It is still available as I speak. And ultimately, when Reggie revealed that he is indeed helping Garfield, hence the title of this video, he concluded by, and we will see whose methodology is poor. And he said, that's how I'm going to do it. So it's kind of like a revenge for Reggie. You know, Reggie has, I mean, and there, once again, I don't have any evidence that it was really Mr. Vegas that called Garfield show. But that brother, that Jamaican brother, told Reggie, this is the battle that you should be fighting. You should go and debate Jabari. Because in a way, Garfield is like a scapegoat. It's like a guinea pig. And when I say guinea pig, I don't want people to say, "Oh, I'm labeling Garfield as a pig." If I'm not mistaken, that's the term uh, that's kind of the same as or some people would say crash dummy, but basically he's like being sent there, and then people will be able to see each other's angle, and ultimately Reggie might be like, okay, and now I'm down. Now I want to debate you. It's a shame, you know. But anyway, let me read the comments. Garfield tells people that they are lying even when they are speaking the truth. So I would say Reggie would not. Reggie gave it away here. Yes, he did give it away. He gave it away. Yes, Mr. Vegas is my brother, and he's correct. So, just out of curiosity, Mr. Vegas said that Garfield was his teacher, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. You are under no obligation. But out of curiosity, I'm just asking: is Garfield still Mr. Vegas' teacher? Just wondering. Because Garfield's master teacher is teaching that.
Allah. and this is where I would disagree with Brother Shaka, is actually in the Egyptian text.
Yes. He's also teaching that.
The god Allah is an indigenous African god.
So I don't need to do all the other pseudo quotes, but um, Reggie's bitterness towards Jabari is pushing him to do anything. Garfield is someone he has known for a while. Like I said, you don't have to answer. You are under no obligation. But I was just addressing the fact that Mr. Vega said live on the air that Garfield was his brother. That I'm sorry, that Garfield was his teacher. So being a teacher and knowing someone for a while, it's not really the same thing. I'm not going to speak for him, but Garfield is not his teacher. Well, you see, we have to be fair. We have to be fair. Didn't Mr. Vega said my teacher when he was talking about Garfield? So maybe he said that, in the sense that he's been listening to Garfield and he considers him a teacher, just like he could listen to other people's videos and consider them teachers. Maybe that's what it was. Well, I get it. I get it then. I get it then. He meant he learned some things from Garfield. Yeah. All right. Let's hope it is really that, because if Garfield was really his teacher, and then Garfield reads that, Garfield's gonna be sad and upset. He's gonna be like, dang, I used to be Mr. Vega's teacher, and now Mr. Vega's brother is saying, for the record, he is not his teacher. I'm not trying to start. I'm not trying to start anything. You know, People have the right to change their mind. He also calls me his teacher as well, Ali G. Who is Ali G? With Dr. Ben, Walter Williams, etc. Well, Imhotep 360. Do you also consider that the Medonesh has not been deciphered? Because we can talk about that if you want to. You don't have. We don't have to. We can talk about anything actually. Because that's the claim of Walter Williams, and it's a sad claim, really, unfounded claim. Whenever I'm live streaming, we can talk about anything. So, despite the title, anything can be addressed. And I have shared. Sometimes I speak too fast. Yeah, I've shared the calling link or invite link. It's in the chat. So if anybody wants to get on the platform, on the panel, they are free to do so as long as they show their face. Otherwise, they can just use the chat. As you can see, I'm going through the comments in the chat. That's for the record. There are many things about Garfield that we don't agree with. Well, there's nothing that a person. I don't know any case where someone will agree with everything that a person said, except for prophets and talking about human beings, because then angels and deities are something else. So there's always going to be something that people don't agree with when it comes to another human beings. I'm sorry, another human being, except for prophets. And many times when we talk about prophets, we talk about people for which we don't have any historical attestation. But just out of curiosity, Brother Imhotep 360, Do you agree with Dr. Walter? I said doctor. Do you agree with Walter Williams that the meta nature has not been deciphered? I mean, for those who don't know, the authors of the book are not my best friends, but a whole book was written addressing that issue. And I think the title is Has a Meta Nature Been Deciphered? A Rebuttal to Walter Williams. Because I remember when people used to say, well, nobody refuted Walter Williams, nobody refuted him. You know what I'm saying? People are acting like, the dude was a um, undisputed champion in that claim. The dude made the claim, lived with the claim for 20 years plus. And to my knowledge, there's only one time when I've seen him discussing that topic, and it was with some of the authors, if not all the authors of the book that refutes his claim. And I did not watch the video, because I know the meta nature has been deciphered. I can read the meta nature. I'm teaching the meta nature, so but I read a few comments, out of curiosity. And if I recall correctly, the video was quite long. I think it was over an hour, maybe it was 2 hours long, maybe more. It might still be available on YouTube. Are you still there, brother? Imhotep 360? Because if you're no longer there, well, if you don't respond, I'm gonna presume that you're no longer there anyway. But if anybody else agrees with the claims of Dr. Walter, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it on purpose. If anybody else agrees with the claim of Walter Williams that the meta nature has not been deciphered, feel free to give your take. And for those who arrived recently, when it comes to the title of this video, this is less than 1 minute long. It's 40 seconds long.
I think really you holding on to a grudge, and I don't want you to get blinded by that. And just you got to move past that
Okay,
one.
you know how I moved on? Smash doesn't like it, but I'm helping Garfield, right? Uh, to to see and we're gonna see whose research in general is poor. So Garfield doesn't need my help, but there's some things that I can help him on, but he doesn't need my help, right? But so I will do it that way. I am very, very passive aggressive.
Our brethren is in the place. Wagwan, brother.
Hey, family, yeah, man, big up yourself.
Be blessed. Yeah. Wow.
Hold on, hold on.
Chris.
Yeah, man, all is well, no
All right.
complaints. Yeah, man, give thanks.
Feel free to speak, my brother. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, man, no problem. So my question is predominantly about like the meta nature, right? So it's not as if like I agree with Walter Williams, right? I just like I just don't think that it was deciphered by Champollion. That's my position. I just don't think that way because some of the Greek philosophers, right? They did give credit to having studied in ancient, Egypt, right? Now, if they speak Greek and we spoke Medo Nature, how were they able to communicate if there was a language barrier? So that's just my position. But I do understand that Walter Williams and Dr. Ben and, Theophila Benga, Cheek, Anta Diop, like, they are not privy to even the information we are privy to right now. And they did such an awesome job. So, they were not infallible, but, we have to, put them on the scale and know that the good that they did outweighs everything, so to speak. So that's the reason why I don't really embrace like this revisionist approach, because I know that it has an agenda, and I've seen where it's corrupting even the black community, so to speak. Because I was talking to a friend of mine, right? I was on a Facebook live today, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and
Hmm.
he follows the Dagger Squad and these guys, right?
Hmm.
And he
Nobody's
is
perfect.
good. He is saying, right? He is saying that North Africa, right? He's saying
Hmm.
that there are certain places in North Africa that was never inhabited by black people. It was inhabited by other races. And when I looked at it, I'm like, listen, we are the only ones who are trying to take black people out of, black areas, or say African people out of areas that they were, and put other races in. And this is the route that we have taken.
But brother, what I could say about that is that um, on depictions from Kemet or ancient Egypt, we see Libyans or people labeled as
Hmm.
Libyans.
Yes.
And when we look at them, they don't appear to be black. So that might be a possibility. We have the Berber population. Now, how long they have been there, I don't really know. I don't really deal
Um,
with anthropology. Yes, go ahead, brother.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he brought this up too. He brought up the same line of argument, right? And it was challenged because the Berbers, I think at the time they go back. I think they go back. I think approximately like over 100,000 years, and he was in the 15,000 year. But my position is this, right? Um, Libya borders with modern day Egypt,
Yes.
and these are European borders that were in place. These were not like borders that were there before. So you do even have like even like the Tuareg in Libya and places like that. You do have tribes that got cut in, where you have the same tribe in one country and the same tribe in another country because of the borders that the Europeans put there.
Yes.
So my thing is this now. In Ethiopia, they have found fossils that is over a million years old,
Hmm.
and Ethiopia borders with Sudan.
Yes.
So I'm just saying it's not far away. So I
Hmm.
don't see why there would be a concept that North Africa or most of North Africa has nothing to do with Africans.
Oh, I don't think anybody's saying that. But
Well, he was saying that certain areas of North Africa, even with Egypt, like we had to fight to try to keep it there in terms of it being an African civilization, because we realized that all these European archaeologists and some of these archaeologists were working for governments. They were being funded by governments to push a certain agenda as well. And these
yes.
are the people that we have to rely on their works. These are the people's works who are being taught in universities. So it gives them the credibility as well.
But brother, you're making a very good point. And that's why people like Dr. Sheikh and Dr. Theophilo Benga, who is still alive, have been monumental. And we have the brother Dr. Obadele Combo, who was first in America and he relocated to Ghana. He's a PhD in linguistics. And we have the young brother, well, young, his, we are actually of the same generation. He stated that um, uh, Netaneb, who has a channel Kedika peer review science channel. He's learning linguistics formally at school, um, and he and Dr. Obadele Kambo and others are working in order to establish the Negro Egyptian language family that Dr. Theophile Obenga proposed. So there are other scholars as well that not many people know about. But what's necessary is for enough people to be in the field in academia in order to demonstrate not an agenda, but just the facts. You see, and myself, um, I am very interested in this endeavor, and I'm just waiting in due time, to let people know what's up with,
Yeah.
how I'm going to manifest that idea and what contribution I may make. You see, so one thing that's uh, helpful for us, that's the depictions. You know, like I like to share that one, but I'm going to show people how they can access it. So that's one of my favorite actually. So brothers and sisters, you can just type in Louvre, Louvre, and then you type Amenofis, Amenopphis, and then you type 3, the letter I, the Roman numerals. And you see here, second link, mural painting. Now you can even put it in English if you want. Well, this is already in English by default. But this says mural painting. Here we have the date, circa 1300 BC. That's 3,000 years old. And Amenophes is the Greek way. So that would be Amenhotep the third. So this is Akhenaten's father. And there's a guy on TikTok. I don't want to say his username. He made a few videos making fun of people, black people, claiming that the ancient Egyptians were black. You know,
Hmm.
so he has a fair bit of subscribers. So I thought, okay, let me holler at him. So I made a video. I tagged him, and I've used this picture, and I say, what does it look like to you? Does it look African or not?
That's right.
And I told him then we can talk about Herodotus, who described ancient Egyptians as black, and also Champollion, who described ancient Egyptians as black. And I think he realized that, you know what, I'm not gonna mess with that dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
if a few people have liked my video, and that's it. So this is just one depictions. We have plenty of other depictions where we can clearly see that they are black in terms of phenotype, and also the dark brown color, and sometimes black color. So I've been to many museums, in many different countries, and I just love to document that. And then there's also aspects, cultural aspects, the language. We find many terms in different African languages, and we're talking about Theophilo Benga. There's this you know what? Did you get a chance to see that chart showing Medu Neter words and different African languages that have similar words, if not the same words? You never seen that one, did you?
Nah, I don't
No?
recall seeing
What
that.
what is
No.
what is okay. I'm gonna show to the brothers and sisters how they can see that. One thing I'm gonna do first is share the link for the Louvre Museum so everybody can see it. So I'm gonna put Amenhotep third, and I put Akhenaten's father in the Louvre Museum. Okay, and I'm gonna show the brothers and sisters how they can find that link that I'm about to share. So you can go back to you can go to my channel. Here we have the search icon. So it's going to search within my account. And if I put West Africa, I think it's going to show. There it is, West Africa's relationship with Kemet. So there, the first link, PDF Ankh Online. And that's the journal or website uh, headed by Dr. Teofado Benga. And now I'm going to share the link in the chat. And I'm going to show you the PDF. So as a matter of fact, if I just change and I do that, boom. Here's a PDF here. Now it's in French, but it's okay. I'm here. I'm sorry. So it says morphological or lexicon of morphological comparison. So they're going to compare, and when I say they, I'm talking about scholars. Pharaonic Egyptian, the Wolof, the Dagara, Pular. Pular is really Fulani. Banda, Manding is Mandingo. Nuer, Douala, even Greek and French. So
Mhm.
um, there it is. So here we have this comes from Shekon Diop, where he compared the ancient Egyptian and the Wolof. Now, what is that one for? Okay, it's just specifying that it's an African language spoken in Senegal. And that's from his book Parenté génétique de l'Égyptien pharaonique et des langues négro-africaines. That book hasn't been translated in English, and that was 1977. So early on, Diop did that work, and so here we have the Middle Nature terms, like from in Middle Nature we have faire, which means to go away, and in Wolof we have feh, and I'm not sure if they pronounce it faire, because we say shek anta job, but in Wolof it's actually sheikh anta diop. So I don't know if this is pronounced fair or fer, but it means to go away as well. We have meri, which means to love. We heard the terms tameri, beloved land, because tam means land. And in Wolof we have mar, which means love. It also means to lick. We have kef, which means to catch one's prey. And in Wolof we have kef, which means the same thing, to catch one's prey. In Middle Nature we have ite, which means to catch, to capture. And now it's a bit different here because teh means to shoot with a bow, and also to like pull the bow. So it's related in terms of hunting. So I'm not going to read all of them, but here we have ab, which means to finish, to stop, and we have in Wolof ab, which means the extreme limit and the end of the life. See, um, we have yad in Medu Necher, which means child, and we have yed in Wolof, which means uh, to tell somebody off like a child. We have Iba, which means dance in Medu Necher, and we have Yaba, which means dance in Wolof. So that was for the Wolof. Now, here, and we have all these other terms. Now, the ancient Egyptians compare with the Dagara, and that language is spoken where? In north of Ghana and in Burkina Faso. And this time, it is from Théophile Obenga's book, Comparaison morphologique entre l'Égyptien ancien et le Dagara. Well, apparently, no, it's not a book. It's an article in the review Ankh. Ankh is a journal. Then, which other language do we have? Ancient Egyptian compared with the Pular, and it comes from Abu Bakri Moussalam's book called The L'origine égyptienne des Peuls. And I'm just going to put up the French and the Greek because the language is listed well at the beginning of the PDF. So if anybody's curious, they can just compare those different terms. So this shows a relationship. And if people can show a similar relationship with those Mediterranean languages, then they can be our guests. But here we have ancient Egyptian. We had Hut Ptah, the sanctuary of the Ka of Ptah. And in Greek we have Aegyptos. And in French we have the Egyptian, or in English, Egyptian. The term Egypt that we all use derives from that, from Aegyptos. Uh, we have Kemet. It says the black country, and it says Egypt. In Greek, we have Kimia, and in French, we have the word chimie. We pronounce it chimie in French, but in English, you would say alchemy, I think. Okay, I'm sorry, chemistry.
One quick question though. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Right.
no problem, brother.
So I've seen where historians and anthropologists will say that Kemet means the black country or the black land, right?
Hmm.
But like people never identified based on the color of their skin,
Says who?
huh?
Says who? Oh, the brother's gone. I'm waiting for him to come back. But when he comes back, um, feel free to come back, brother. Thanks to internet connection issue. Uh, well, here we have Kemet. Oh, I read that one. We have here we have per item. the house of Atum. I don't know how to read that in Greek. I know this stands for the P. This is a th sound. Actually, this is like the O sound or U sound, and this is a M. So it's like a pithum or something like that. Pithum, pithum. And in French, we have pithum. Let me see if the brother's back. Oh yes, he's back. Yes, feel free, brother. We had a
Yeah, I'm
disconnection.
sorry about that.
No, no,
Yeah.
no problem, no problem.
Yeah,
But
so
but who says that? Is that a an established rule of academia
no,
that
no, it's
yeah.
something that I have seen where, and I stand corrected, I'm not saying it's the
Mm,
absolute truth, but it's
mm,
something I have seen. Whereas European anthropologists don't say, like, the white land or the white people in terms of like describing the land, like it's not done to the Asians, it's not done to anybody else. I mean, based on my observation, I stand corrected. So I mean, on that logic, I would question that. It's the same way how you will have flat earthers out there who are saying the earth is flat. And
mhm,
I will look at it and say, well, I look at universal order. And if
mhm,
the earth is flat, you're telling me that the moon is flat and the rest of the planets should be flat too.
mhm,
That's how I'm going to look at it from a logical perspective, because that's the way nature is, or the universe is. So I am
mhm,
just saying that no other race were called, like, the white land or the Caucasian land or things like that.
mhm.
And I mean, if,
Well,
if you look at like Ethiopia and stuff like that, they were saying like, oh, it means burnt faces and things like that. So I'm just saying,
mm,
I think those were classifications by the Europeans.
mm. Well, there's one thing that's interesting is that a lot of countries' names derive from the Greek. You know, so a lot of countries' names that we use, it was not the indigenous inhabitants of their area that came up with the name that we use today or the derivatives that we use today. You see, so I've heard many people say that people will not describe themselves by some racial epithets and so on, and I think it's just a talking point because the fact of the matter is, if we look here, the term Kemet. Now, this glyph here, you might have heard that before. It's the I6 glyph, and when we say I6, we mean Gardner reference. I6, so it's described as many times. It's described as some crocodile skin or crocodile fish scale, and others, Shekontadiop, and also being manly, and what's the other guy's name again? Mark Collier in their book How to Read How to Read Egyptian Hieroglyphs. They describe this glyph as a piece of charcoal, you know, which is in agreement with what Diop argued. Now, regardless what it describes, it has a phonetic value, which is Kem, the K and the M, and it has a meaning as well. There's several meaning that can be associated with Kem, but we could say that mainly or most of the time it will be black. But when it comes to that word, most Egyptologists in the world would translate it as black country. You see? So the meaning for that glyph is black indeed.
So
Now we have, yeah,
yes,
go ahead, brother.
uh,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
No, no,
but
it's okay.
like,
It's okay.
okay, so the term black,
Mm-hmm.
based on my understanding, I stand corrected, was coined in like 1676 there and about,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So if you agree with me with that, which pretty much I'm saying that the term black was like, less than 400 years ago, so to speak. So if we're gonna call it the black land based on the hieroglyphics, what would substitute for black?
I'm not sure. What was the last thing you said? What will substitute for black? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
yes, because
Yeah.
I'm saying
But
if the
but that
term was coined
yeah,
recently,
I understand. I
it's
understand.
a very new
Yeah,
term.
I understand.
Yes.
But that's in English though. You know, we surely have other languages where they have their own words for black. You see, because one thing is for sure is that the Coptic language is the latest phase or latest stage of the Medu Neter or hieroglyphic. And in
Mhm.
Coptic, it's the same. When we have, Kemi, or however it's pronounced, because I don't speak the Coptic, it
I
means
agree
black
with
as
that.
well.
I
Yes,
agree with that.
yeah,
But remember, the Greeks and the Romans had a lot of influence as well on that, and it's the Greeks that,
um,
in terms of the Coptic, like
I wouldn't
I
say that. I
you
wouldn't
wouldn't
say
say
that.
that
No.
in terms of the writings and all of that,
Well, you
but
see,
it's the same concept as the black. I'm just talking
the
about their concept and that being superimposed on the Coptics in terms of their writings.
the thing is this: the Coptic is written with Greek letters, indeed. You know,
Hmm.
just like we have many African languages that can be like Kiswahili, for example. Even though there's a big influence of Arabic, but we're using the Roman script. So many African languages are written with the Roman script. You know, so it's just a script. It's just something used for the language. You see, um, we have Arabic inscriptions in the Arabic language, but Nabatean script. It was not even the Arabic script. You see, so uh, the Coptic indeed is with the Greek script, and the Copts added 7 letters that are not Greek, 7 symbols or letters that are not Greek, 4 sounds that don't exist in the Greek language. So yes, the script is Greek, you know, but it's not the Greek language. It doesn't mean that the Greek has so much of an influence. We're just dealing with the language and definitions of words. You see, so uh, Brother Nedeneb, he has shown someone called Sabi Kem. Now I don't have the reference on the top of my head, but if anybody wants to ask him, he'd be glad to show it. He has presented it. And we have the chem glyph and we have the determinative of a person. So it is talking about a person. We have James P. Allen in his Middle Egyptian. I think it's on page 9. He shows Henanit the Chem. Sorry, Henanit the Chem. Henanit Chem, and he translates it as Henanit the Black. You see? So James P. Allen is a world renowned Egyptologist. He has a
Yeah,
PhD.
yes, and
Yeah,
one would expect him to go with the established order. And I mean, I can give you an example, right, as well. I saw where Garfield was saying that, oh, the oldest calendar is not from Kemet, right? And Mr. Vegas was talking, and I said, I mean, I asked him about I think it's a Dendera zodiac, right?
exactly. Yes, that's what it
Good.
is.
And he went to like Wikipedia or wherever, right? And was
That's his
reading up
main
on it.
source. Yes,
Good.
yes.
And
That's
was
his
reading
main
up
source.
on it, right? And
Mm,
listen what happened. It was a number of archaeologists that actually dated the Dendera zodiac. One
mhm,
archaeologist dated it 2500 BC,
mm.
right? Champollion dated it way after. And Champollion pulled rank in whatever way, shape, or form. So it's based on what Champollion said in terms of his dating that was accepted. It wasn't the 2500 BC.
Hmm.
So I am
But
just saying that sometimes people go with the status quo in terms
yeah,
of their position.
mm. But do you have any issue with James P. Allen translating Chem as black?
No, I'm not
Oh,
saying that. I'm not saying
mm,
that. I'm not saying
mm,
that at all. I'm not saying that at
mm,
all. No.
mm. But when it comes to the Dendera zodiac, I have read that it is the oldest circular zodiac in the world, and I've heard Garfield arguing that it's a well, he I think he shared a video from someone, I don't know the guy's credentials, and that person argues that the Dendera zodiac is a copy of some, Sumerian
Sumer,
or
yes,
Mesopotamia. Yes,
because
you know, but
correct.
but but so my thing is that it doesn't matter much to me. I mean, we're not trying to claim that every single thing comes from Kemet, but Garfield, he's when we show, for example, they've done that recently with the Ten Commandments
Mhm.
and Papyrus of Ani, housed in the British Museum. So they're going like, oh, it's not the same. It doesn't come from me, blah, 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 blah. I mean, we show them texts, we show them records, and every time there's some similarities, others will call it plagiarism, he's just going to outright deny it. So I'm like, he can deny for days all he wants. That's fine. Other people don't think like him. He has an agenda. His agenda is to demonstrate that the Kemetic um way of life as it is practiced by people today derives from Freemasonry, and that is some it derives from the Greeks. I mean, we have Brother Reggie who said that Heru is Greek, and I can
Yeah,
what is
but
it? Hold
like
on, let me
their
just play
pos.
it for the record.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, his pharaoh could have been a Greek, but I don't.
Well, I
Why
tell
did
you
he
what,
want him?
Heru was Greek.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because one of the stories of Heru being conceived is during the Greek time period.
And this is historical falsification because I was on Smashwalker's platform. Reggie was there, and I asked, and other people asked as well, what's up with him claiming that Heru is Greek?
Yeah,
Reggie spoke.
that's
Yeah,
weird.
he spoke for half an hour,
Hmm.
and he did not address the point. And then I shared a link to the pyramid text where we can see Heru written on the glyphs, and I've shared a Britannica article about the pharaoh or king Unas or Unis according to the transliteration of the Middle Nature. And Unas lived circa 2400 or 23,000. Sorry, not 23,000. 2,300 BC. I'm not sure if the Greek existed then. So saying that Heru is Greek, if you would have said Horus is Greek, I
Correct,
could have
correct,
understood. But
correct.
to say Heru is Greek, so you see that's they have an agenda. They're trying to act like these Kemetic guys. They're like Kemetic Christians. They are Kemetic Greek
I
and all
know,
that.
I know.
But go ahead, brother. Feel free.
There's an agenda. I mean,
Yes.
I see it. I see it because it's like what's going on now is like revisionism.
Mm,
Even with like the Dr. Benz and the Theophila Benga and the Walter Williams, it's like them trying to revise to discredit them. And then now, once you discredit these people, you're allowing other people to come and take it over.
mm.
Because right now, you have people like in the desert digging up, trying to find like something that says Moses or Joshua so they can validate their existence in that area. You get what I'm saying? And
Mm.
we are here just trying to discredit our ancestors because they say it and prove that it's a black civilization.
That's the Garfield maniacs. Is people like there's another brother who has an X in his name. I don't even want to say his name like that. He's making videos all the time saying the ancient Egyptians are not black.
I
And
know
and,
what you're
and
talking
yeah,
about.
and you
It's
know that one that I've shared there. There's
yeah.
somebody left a comment and he said, that guy is putting money on it. So I said, here it is. He said, if you show a black tribe in Kemet, and I said, well, the tribe is called Royal Family of Amenhotep III, which is Akhenaten's father, which is
Mhm,
King Tutankhamun's grandfather. And then I
mhm,
told the brother, whatever money he's putting up, take half and send the other half to me on paper. And then I added, those guys who claim to be putting money on it, what I'm saying, it's
mhm.
just a talking point.
But
Garfield did
I'm
put up
seeing,
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you won the argument.
Well, I don't know if we could say that, but I've presented an original document just like he asked for, and I've
Yes,
presented also the translation from the German dictionary. And many
correct.
people have said a lot of things, but I didn't see anybody,
Yeah, people are saying
refuting or
like, "Oh,
dismissing.
that's in German," and like, blah
Yeah,
blah.
but
Yeah,
it's
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 just
a guy
weird.
called Batichon.
Yeah,
He's
I
the
know.
groupie of the guy who says that Allah is in
Word,
the Egyptian text. So his
word,
mind is not really right yet, but
word.
hopefully he will come to his senses. He even said that it's handwritten as if it's a negative. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody wants to refute the Württemberg and say that it's pseudo, then they can be my guest. But so far they know they should not say that. It's the most complete ancient Egyptian dictionary. So they have a hard job on their hands. But that's just light work. And going back to what you said, you don't believe that Champollion deciphered the hieroglyphs. And I don't have an issue with that because um it was a group effort. But Smashwakwa talked about the what was his name? I'm going to tell you his name because I have the PDF here. Um, Horapollo, Horapollo. Now, I'm gonna look up the time period. Hora Polo. Hora Polo. He lived, yeah, fifth century. Fifth century. You know. So circa 400 AD. He was talking about the Medu Neter. He didn't get it all right, but he didn't get it all wrong. Then we have a Muslim or Arab, maybe, because a lot of time people label people Arab when they're not really Arab, like the Berbers, the North Africans. They, even themselves, some of them, the younger generation, they say, Arabs, but they are Berbers. But never mind. Um, there's one Muslim guy who also did some work about the hieroglyphics. Then we have, Thomas Young, the British guy who worked on the hieroglyphics, and he had some good knowledge for with the available data. And then Champollion was very lucky because when Napoleon decided to put a smackdown on Egypt, they found the Rosetta Stone, and the rest is history. We have the Greek, the hieroglyphic. The name of the king is in the cartouche, so they were able to figure out more symbols, more phonetic values, and more meanings. So when you say that he's not the only one, he's not the multi genius that just figured everything out. People had been working on it, but his luck is that he came across a text which is the same text in two different languages. You see, but a lot of our people, they're not really looking into the matter, and they have a problem with the idea that a European will decipher a language. But when we're talking about deciphering the language, it's a language that was the knowledge of the language was kind of lost because Justinian has closed down, the temple. I think what was it? Was it? I forgot the date, but the knowledge of the language was lost. And he came across that text, and people were able to figure out, okay, that's what those symbols stand for. Those are the phonetic values. And even Champollion himself, he got a few symbols, wrong, you know. And then over time, with the 200 years of the academic field of Egyptology, or or the 200 years when people have been dealing with the Medu Neter, then people are able to correct the errors and so on. So um there's one thing that our brothers and sisters, I would really want them to remember, is that scholarship doesn't have any color.
I
You
agree.
know,
I
we have the
agree.
brother Emegueli, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he's nicknamed the father of the internet. He's a brother from Nigeria, you know, and he showed a newspaper where, sometimes when there's an article, you have an artist that would, make a drawing. He drew the guy as a white person, you know, and I mean, you know what? Yeah, I can show better than I can. Eme Welly, and maybe I still have the article on my website, so I can show. Uh, um, okay, maybe I will find it on his web. It was Eme Welly's website. Hopefully, it's on Wikipedia. Uh, I want to show that picture. Where would I find it? Does he have biography? So now it's in PDF format. Hold the pictures and there with the drawing. I'm scrolling through the PDF. Oh, there it is. That's beautiful. So I'm sharing the PDF right from Emegwadi's website. So you have it, brothers and sisters. Okay, that's the one. And now let me show you. Now back then it was just an article, but So that's the brother. Now he talks about a May 1990 issue of the Detroit Free Press, and that article profiled Philip Emeagwali as a supercomputer genius. In the background is the high-powered self-contained workstation that was his front end for 16 parallel supercomputers that he programmed in the 80s. See? Now, here, there it is. This is what an artist. Oh, no, no, hold on, no. This is not the right. I think it's going to. Oh, why doesn't it show the white one? Did I skip it? Ah, okay. The drawing was the same as this, but instead of being black, it's white.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Uh, that's what I wanted to show it. Super computer. No, put white. Oh, I'm unlucky because I saw the drawing, but I did not notice not the right one. Oh, there it is. Seek and you shall find. So this, which page is it of the PDF? It's page 153. Now, the drawing on the right is from Michigan Today, February 1991, volume 23, number 1. And it says there's a supercomputing race between the chicken and the ox. So on the left, that's the original. And on the right, somebody decided to portray as
Mm-hmm.
white.
Mm-hmm.
And here it says, since 1989, my contributions to science were controversial because I was described as having a higher IQ than Albert Einstein. To reduce the controversy, no, to reduce the well, I guess it's a mistake. I think because it says controversy. I'm not familiar with that
Mm-hmm.
word. While illustrators depicted Philip Emeagwali as white, and as shown in this pair of illustration, the controversial illustration of the black Philip Emeagwali was never published. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I remember from memory that the author of the drawing on the right said that he believes that Emeagwali has white ancestry. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Oh
just
my
an excuse.
gosh!
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, people can look it up. I don't want to spend
Mm-hmm.
too long with that, but that's just for the record. And many people don't know about Philip Emeagwali. You know, nicknamed the father of the internet. So yeah, scholarship doesn't have any color. Science doesn't have any color. You know.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that, and that's the reason why I am an exponent. I've heard you said it before, and I might respectfully disagree with that.
Mm-hmm,
When you distance yourself from Freemasonry, starting in Kemet,
mm-hmm,
in ancient Kemet. Yeah, you have distance yourself from that. But
mm-hmm,
I've seen other people. I've seen Dr. Ben address that. I've seen Ashwa Kwesi, who was a student of Dr. Ben, doing that. Zachary P. Gremillan, he wrote a book on that as well. Professor James Small, these are great minds, I think, and based on their presentations and stuff like that, why would you not agree with their position?
mm. The last one you named, I'm not familiar with, but
Who,
Ashok
Professor
Kwesi.
James Small?
No, oh no, it wasn't the last one. My bad.
Oh,
Zakaria.
oh,
Yeah,
Zachary P. Gremillan. He wrote a
yeah.
book. He
Mm,
wrote a book. It's called Treatise of the Ancient Grand Lodge of Kemet. I actually bought that book a couple of years ago. So, maybe you could check him out. But yeah, he was pretty much, highlighting the African origin of Freemasonry.
yeah. I'm sorry. Did you say the title is Treatise of the Ancient Grand Lodge of
Lodge
Kemet?
of Kemet, yeah, Zachary P. Gremillan.
Doesn't come up. Okay, Zakaria P. And
Yes,
then
Zachary
eh,
P. Gremillan, like Gremillon.
Illion. Uh,
You still
Fuse of
haven't
the
seen
ancient
anything?
world. Oh, Kamet. He wrote it
Good.
Khamet.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Correct. Correct.
I will look it up. Thank you
It's
for that.
correct. And I mean, like even like Swallow the Lubix. Like, are you familiar with the Swallow the Lubix? Because that dude was French. He wrote the Temple of Man.
Okay. I have it somewhere.
Got you. So I'm
I have
just
it
saying,
somewhere.
like,
Mm.
with that level of information out there, why is your position a bit like skeptical?
Hmm. Now, Astro Crazy, I've seen most of his DVDs, um, and I've seen the one about the African origin of Freemasonry, and even if I'm not mistaken, in his other DVDs, he will eventually touch on that a little bit, but he has a DVD dedicated to this
Yes, I
argument.
know. I know.
Yes, and my sense is that he shows some symbolism. He shows some depictions where we have different symbols and different positions and so on. Uh, it is clear that there's an inspiration of ancient Egypt when we're dealing with Freemasonry.
Hmm.
But Freemasonry, as far as I'm concerned, is something that started around Germany. Around Germany in Europe, and it's just like some people would say a fraternal order and so on.
But the
So
thing
just
is,
just
right? Yes.
you
I'm
know you
sorry.
know
Go ahead.
no problem. We have the time. For example, it's like you have the Shriners. We have the
Hmm.
Shriners, and the Shriners, they will use, sometimes we see them with the fez, they might say
Hmm.
Mecca and so on, and they might even use some greetings in Arabic. But I have a video called Deception of Asiatic Black Men. It's in the description of all my videos, including this one, well, most of my videos, let's say.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that the reason why it is influenced by Islam is because those two Europeans or pale face white men who founded the Shriners, which is well, those guys are the fathers of the Asiatic Black Man movement, the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science Temple of America, and by extension, the Nations of God's Earth or Five Percenters. One of them, I mean, we have Fleming, and I forgot the other guy's name, but I give all the references in the video once again called Deception of Asiatic Black Men. One of them went to Europe. Actually, he went to France, and he was in an Arabian theme party, and he's like, "Oh man, you know what?" And he was a Mason, by the way. And he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go home and do the same thing." You know. So if it was an Indian theme party, instead of talking about Arabia and with the Asiatic black men, people would have been talking with the Indian black men. You know. So the analogy, in conclusion, it's like I don't think it would be fair to say that Islam is the origin of Freemasonry, for example.
All right.
Just because,
So
yeah.
yes,
Go
I'm
ahead, brother.
sorry.
Go ahead.
So if we were supposed to Google like the European origin of Freemasonry, they would tie it into Jacques de Molay and the Knights Templars. You get what I'm saying, family? That's from like the 11th or 12th century, which is pretty much like 800 years ago. They will tie it into Jacques de Molay and the Knights Templars. Now, what I'm saying is this, right? If you look at Masonry, you look at the Judgment Hall and things like that, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's the same thing you see in the Western court system. Like the 12 jurors and stuff like that. That is Kemetic. Masonry was all about like the principle of Ma'at, like the Hall of Truth is what they would call now King Solomon's temple. And Masonic temples are a reflection of the Hall of Truth.
Well, I'm not convinced. I mean, let's look it up
Mhm.
briefly. This is Britannica for the record. Share the record as well. A lot of people don't know Britannica, but they know Wikipedia well.
Mhm.
I mean, Freemasonry, secret organization, that's updated August 13, 2022, Encyclopedia Britannica. The teachings and practices of fraternal, men only order of free and accepted Masons, the largest worldwide secret society, and now an oath bound society often devoted to fellowship, moral discipline. and mutual assistance that conceals at least some of its rituals, customs, or activities from the public. Secret societies do not necessarily conceal their membership or existence. Spread by the advance of the British Empire, Freemasonry remains most popular in the British Isles and in other countries originally within the empire. Estimates of the worldwide membership of Freemasonry in the early 21st century range from about 2 million to more than 6 millions. 6 million, my bad. I cannot remove this ad here, unfortunately. So, um, where was it? Where was I? There it is. Freemasonry involved from the guilds of stonemasons and cathedral builders of the Middle Ages. And here we have, for the record, doesn't really look Kemetic to me here. Some
Okay,
people will argue about the
okay,
headset.
but
Yeah,
the
go ahead, brother.
concept starts from stonemasons, right? So, who were the first stonemasons? Aren't the builders of the pyramids
Well,
stonemasons?
here it says it evolved from the guilds
I get that.
of
I get that.
stonemasons,
I understand that.
and he says, hold on, what is it? It says of the Middle Ages,
Be-
cathedral
cor-
builders,
correct.
and cathedral builders,
No, but
that's
I'm
not
just
Kemet.
saying. No, but I'm just saying, family, right? Imhotep was considered to be one of the first master masons as well,
Says who?
huh?
Says who?
Ashwa Kwesi,
Yeah, well,
um,
what's his source for saying that?
James Smart. But are we talking about stonemasons? That's where masonry started from. Stonemasons. Before it became like what it is today, it started from stonemasonry. That's the concept. So if the builders of the pyramid were
But who
stonemasons,
who says that though?
who says what now?
That the masonry started with basically the
That's where
builders.
that's where the concept started from. They were stonemasons. And that's the reason why in masonry you see all these symbols. You see the compass, you see the square, you see the plummet line and stuff like that. Because stonemasonry involved those symbols. Those are tools of stonemasonry. And you will see the plummet line. So that's where the concept started with. No,
Well,
I'm just saying, like these Europeans would say they started building cathedral, but if you Google and said, the etymology of European masonry, it will tie you into like Jacques de Molay and the Knights Templars going to Jerusalem during the Crusade to get initiated. That's where they
well,
said it came back from, Jacques de
well.
Molay and the Knights Templars.
If he goes to Jerusalem, that's not Kemet.
But all I'm saying is, right, family, that's where they got it from in Jerusalem. It
Says who?
doesn't, huh?
Says
No,
who?
they claim that was when they went there on the crusade in Jerusalem. They came back with a different because they went there as Christians and they came back with a different type of teaching and said they got initiated into the mystery system down there. And that's where they said they started Freemasonry as a secret society. That's what it says when you like Google it, like Freemasonry in Europe. They tie it into Jacques de Molay
Mm.
and the Knights
Y-
Templars.
mm. You just said that they went to Jerusalem and they were initiated, and
Correct.
they started Freemasonry. Then
No, no,
if I
no. They came back to Europe,
mhm.
right?
And
With the
then they
concept, with that concept.
with the concept that they
Yeah,
got from
it might have been. Yeah, it might.
In Jerusalem.
Yes,
So what does that have to do with Kemet?
because in Jerusalem, these were Sufis as well.
These were
These
what? Sorry,
these were Sufis.
Sufi, the Muslims.
Yes.
So what
No,
about
what
Kemet?
I'm saying. No, what I'm saying is right. Sufi Islam also incorporates a lot of like black occult knowledge.
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. But you see, the things you see, we went from, and I understand the argument because once again, there are some symbolism, like the pyramid, the
Mm-hmm.
compass, and the
Mm-hmm.
square. There are
Mm-hmm.
some symbolism that we can see in Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
However, I gave the analogy of the Shriners. I don't think it would be fair to say that Shriners, um, the origin of the Shriners is Islam.
No, yeah, I'm
You know,
saying, but the Shriners
and
were
you see.
after though. The Shriners is pretty
Yeah,
much
it's true.
recently.
You're correct.
They are
The
not
Shriners,
like a
yes,
thousand years old or older. They are not.
you are correct. The Shriners is after the Masons in Freemasonry, and I agree with you. But the things that when we try to get to the bottom of this, Now we have Jerusalem, you know, and it's and so you stated that, and we can talk about this later on. You can get your source ready and stuff like that. So then they went to Europe and they founded Freemasonry. And then when I'm telling you, okay, that's Jerusalem, that's not Kemet, then you say, okay, Sufism, and Sufism
Mhm.
is just a form or branch of Islam. You see,
It's,
so
it's
now
it's like the wisdom. It's the wisdom. It's the occult aspect of wisdom. The same way out Kabbalah would be for Judaism.
mm,
These are like esoteric teachings. They are.
mm. But you see,
They are.
mhm.
Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, no problem. We can communicate. We can interject and cut each other off. It's fine. Um, Sufism, a branch of Islam. You know, Kabbalah, some esoteric wisdom of tied to the Jewish religion. So far we're not dealing with Kemet.
But Kabbalah comes from Kemet.
Says
That's
who?
the thing, huh?
Says who?
The Pa'at Neteru. That's where they got the concept of the ten Sephirah as well.
But Pa'adneteru, that's what's the brother's name again?
The
The one who wrote
Kemetic tree.
Metroneta.
Yeah,
Um,
that's Ra'un
Raul
Neferament.
Nefer.
Good.
I don't have anything against him. I'm not trying to start anything. I don't even know if he's still alive. But it seems to me that he's dealing mainly with metaphysics, and metaphysics to
Okay.
me is
Is
like another realm.
but
another dimension.
yeah,
But
but is something wrong with metaphysics, or is it that?
well, they talk about astral
Mm,
projection. So I'm trying to live on
okay,
planet Earth. You know what
okay,
I'm
okay.
saying?
So pretty much you would say that you don't have an astral body, right?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay, so you would say that. So pretty much like if you were to go to sleep now, do you have dreams at nights?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you dream that you were somewhere else.
I dream I was somewhere, indeed.
Yes, and you were maybe in a different place with people around and your
Hmm.
body's still in the bed, right?
Hmm.
So what do you call that, or how do you describe that?
A dream.
But I'm just saying, right? Consciously your body is in the bed, but your subconscious mind is somewhere else.
Mm. Well,
So like how would you describe that, being in a different place with people around and stuff like that?
we call it dreaming.
Yeah,
You know,
good. So
like
so
like
what is the dream?
for example, I mean, if we have
Yeah.
to go there, some
Yes.
people might have dreamed that they have an accident and they accidentally kill somebody or willingly kill somebody because maybe they were attacked, or maybe sometimes in dreams you do things that we would not do normally.
Mm-hmm.
I have dreamed that I found some money, and I woke up sad, realizing that it was a dream. So if you
Okay.
dream that you kill somebody, or that you have, uh, some intercourse with a lady that you are
Mm-hmm.
attracted to, you wake up and you realize it did not happen. you
Good.
know
So
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 so matter
when you
what it.
dream,
Mhm.
what happens? Like what happens? Because you said it's a dream, but like
Yes,
tell me the essence
it's a
of
dream, which
it.
means it's not a reality. It's not something that happened.
In this reality, right? I mean, if you look at it in this reality, because I'm saying you experienced something, you saw something, an accident occurred, and whatever.
Mm,
How did that happen? Where did it happen? Yes,
mm,
we know it's not in this reality.
mm.
I'm just saying it's food for thought as well. So
Okay, well,
you know
I,
what?
I I get the point. I get the point.
Hmm.
But maybe some people dream about being in space and other planets. I haven't yet. I think
Yes.
most of the time people will dream about earthly matters because our brain, memorizes those things. And some people argue that that's why we have this impression that we call deja vu. Some people think that we feel like we already uh, leave that moment, but it might be some stuff that we went through before, and because we're going through it again, we have a feeling that we leave that moment.
But
And
in Kemet, right? Yeah, I'm sorry.
yes.
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. Feel free,
No,
brother.
I was gonna say in Kemet they had the bar and the car, right?
Two different things indeed. Is correct. Yes,
Correct. The spirit and the soul, right?
yes, yes.
Good. So,
But were you going to talk about Kabbalah?
mhm.
Because
No, no,
once
no,
again,
no, no. I
no,
wasn't
yeah,
gonna. I wasn't gonna talk about Kabbalah though.
or the
I
Kaaba
was
maybe.
no, no. I was just gonna tie
Okay.
it back into the Kemetic mystery system because
Mm.
Kemet had a mystery system, right?
I don't
Um,
know. I don't know if we could say that. I mean,
the Greeks claim that they sat at the feet at the Kyrie high priest. They were saying that, and I stand corrected. There was always this concept where they say that you had to go to school for 40 years to become like a Sarah, like a son of light, so to
it,
speak.
it is said many times that the priest had to study for 40 years, but they're talking about
Hmm.
mysteries. What were they talking about? Is it because they don't understand the language and the priest would just give them little insights? I think it's best
Hmm.
to deal with the time period when the indigenous Africans or ancient Egyptians, let's say, because some people will, not really like us saying Africans, but
Hmm.
the indigenous inhabitants of ancient Egypt, it's best to see what they used to say, rather than what the Greeks used to say, because some people will say, Kabbalah or Kaaba, and as if there's a relationship with the term Ka and Ba. But like I told people, I have yet to see Ka
Hmm.
and Ba
Hmm.
after one another.
Yes,
And
correct,
once again,
correct,
yeah, you see, so
correct.
people can argue about mystery systems and so on, but so far, and I'm willing to listen to every argument, But when it comes to Freemasonry, so far, we've seen, Jerusalem, Sufism, and Kabbalah, which is like Jewish esoteric
Okay,
teachings, So,
okay. So
and yeah, go
yes.
ahead. Feel free.
I'm sorry. So all right. Okay? So have you seen the back of a $1 bill, a US $1 bill, the Great Seal?
There's a pyramid with a what they call the all-seeing eye.
Oh,
Indeed,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So what makes you think they have a pyramid on the $1 bill?
Mm. Well, Freemasonry is about
No, not
building.
the pyramid. We're talking about the
Yes,
pyramid because once you
yes,
say the
fine.
pyramid, it's more like
Yes.
identifying it with Egypt. Um,
Well, it's
if
it's a symbol from Egypt, indeed.
okay,
Yes,
all right.
and
Now, if you look at the eagle, right?
hmm
The
some
eagle
people will
has
say
the
Heru,
no the no
Horus.
well they could say it was a falcon which represented Heru and it
Mm,
became a eagle. That's fine.
mm,
That's fine.
mhm,
That's up for debate.
mhm.
But the eagle has 9 feathers. Okay, on the tail of the eagle, it's 9 feathers. You get what
Mhm,
I'm saying?
mhm.
And when we're talking about the feather, we're talking about what? Justice and judgment or ma'at.
Well, we
The
could say that, but
the
Ma'at has
feather.
one feather, but
Yeah,
we
yes,
could make
but
the
I'm talking
correlation. We
about the
could,
feather. Yeah, the feather
yes.
represents Ma'at. And
Hmm.
the Supreme Court has 9 justices.
Mm. Well,
So I am just saying,
I mean, Ma'at is an ostrich feather, but we can still make the correlation. I never counted how many feathers there is on
yes,
the
there's
eagle,
9, and
but
they have 9 Supreme Court justices.
mm.
You get what
Because
I'm saying?
myself, you see, myself, I also made some correlation or
Mm-hmm.
parallel
Mm-hmm.
between the judgment scene where we see Tehuti and the
Correct.
heart being weighed against the scale. Because on the
Mm-hmm.
top we have 12 people, or
Correct.
assessors or jurors, and in our justice system, or
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
American justice
Correct.
system, they have 12
Correct.
jurors. So, but
Correct.
however, um, dealing with Freemasonry, once again, they're using some symbolism. The pyramid, what I would say, they're dealing with building, masons, builders, and the pyramid is probably, well, at the time when Freemasonry started, we have to check the Eiffel Tower, because the Eiffel Tower, well, I think it was in 19 something. So
Mm-hmm.
when Freemasonry started, the Eiffel Tower, I think, was not built yet.
No, it
And
wasn't. It wasn't. It
yes,
wasn't. It
and
wasn't.
until the Eiffel Tower was built, the Great Pyramid in Giza was the tallest structure, man-made structure or building in the world. So
Yes.
what better structure could they use? You know what I'm saying, to showing the mastery of architecture or building. I mean, that's what I would
Mm-hmm.
say.
The pyramid has what, 13 stripes, right? The pyramid has 13 steps. I'm sorry, the pyramid on the $1 bill, it has 13 steps.
Oh, well, I never counted, but
Okay,
probably.
so the pyramid has 13 steps.
Hmm.
There are 13 stars. There are 13 stripes.
Hmm.
There are 13 olive branches. There are 13 olive leaves. There are 13 arrows.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Now, when it comes down to Freemasonry, the number 13 represents occult knowledge or occult wisdom.
Hmm.
And that's how they tie everything in. When you talk about the all-seeing eye on the pyramid, isn't that like Eru, or you could say, the eye of Ra?
People say that, but the thing is that
Hmm.
it's possible that they were inspired by the Eye of Heru, but they could have drawn the Eye of Heru, however. And you see, now we're talking about the symbolism, but what about the
Hmm.
rituals and the practices? You see, because some people will argue that maybe Madame Blavatsky had a lot to do with us making those different correlations. But
She
can we
actually
see? Mhm.
doesn't. She actually doesn't.
Okay,
She
fine.
never in her book that she
Hmm.
wrote, right?
Hmm.
She recognized the esoteric sciences coming from ancient Kemet, and
Hmm.
she was more into Hinduism, and I mean, along the Indus Kush Valley region.
Hmm.
That's where she
Hmm.
got most of her work from.
Hmm. And but like I was saying, some people would argue or could argue that Madame Blavatsky made these correlations. But besides the symbolism, what about the practices? Can we see in Kemet, people having rituals like in Freemasonry, and that would be the most important. You're muted, brother.
Yeah, I mean there are images of even Mayor Ruker, with his apron on, left foot
Well,
forward,
he has a
stuff like that.
okay, yeah, I've seen that one, and some people might argue this is just the clothing that they had at the time,
Yeah, but
you
with their
know.
left foot forward, and that's a Masonic ritual too. All Masons do left foot forward. They
Well,
do it.
and I hear you, but in Kemet, did they used to have the rituals that we have in Freemasonry? Because right
Um,
now, this
the left foot forward to trample down evil so that the heart can go forward. Yes, the left foot forward concept. Yes, they do, because they had to
the
trample down evil so
the
that the
the
heart could go forward.
the left foot forward is a position. So
Yes.
if I come up with a system and I have a particular position, like 500 years later, it doesn't mean that I'm practicing the same thing that those people were practicing, thousands of years later. That makes me think of some people have shown a Muslim person praying with his face down towards the floor, and they've showed a person from Kemet. Apparently, he's drinking because we have some water in the front. But some people have tried to make those correlations, just like some people have tried to show correlation where we have ICs going like that, and Muslim having some similar type of position, so we can take somebody's position, like some people, they talk about kinetic yoga, what I'm saying. Is this something that we that is attested? Do we have people in Kemet doing those poses, practicing the yoga like that? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced.
Okay.
But once again, the Freemasonry, they have members, they have initiation,
Well,
they
that's
have
the way it is structured now, though.
yes now, and I
That's the way
agree
it is
now.
structured now as a
But
secret
but
society.
yeah,
But
but
at the same
then
time, at the
what?
same time, even Manly Pial, I don't know if you're familiar with Manly Pial. Like, he's
No.
one of the greatest Masonic philosophers. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
He has wrote like countless books. Great mind. He's a white dude, but
Mm-hmm.
he's a great mind. And
Mm-hmm.
he recognizes that Masonry came from Kemet. Pythagoras created the Pythagorean order. Um, you know, and he said that he was initiated in Kemet. So even the Greeks who created their orders recognized that they got it from Kemet.
Pythagorean order. So first time I hear that. Uh, but I don't see anything. If there's anything you can lead me to, I would like to. So are you saying that the Pythagorean order is a Masonic order?
Yes, it is. It's a secret society.
Well, a secret society, that's one thing,
No,
but to
but
say it's
that's
Masonic.
but that's the way they used to do it. It used to be a
Mm,
secret society, meaning that certain information were only shared to certain people.
mm. Yeah, but secret society doesn't mean Freemasonry.
Um, yes, it does. It's
No.
interconnected to it. That's how they cloak Freemasonry by calling it a
Mm.
secret society.
Yes, yes. Freemasonry is a form of secret society, but you probably have other forms of secret society. I don't think it's fair to say that secret society period, that's Freemasonry.
Well, the people that practice Freemasonry right now identify themselves as being a secret society.
Yes,
It's
and I
just like
understand
it's
that.
just like the Church of Satan. That's a secret society because not everyone can get in. It's the same thing with masonry too. Like you can apply and someone can recommend you or and they approve you. So it's not as if like it's hermetically sealed to
Mm,
only a selected few.
mm.
Like,
But now,
you
with
know.
this analogy, if we talk about Satan, the Muslims they will have Shaitan. The Christians they will say Satan, and in the Jewish also religion they have that, but it's not the same religion. You know,
Hmm.
so
But in
mhm.
Kemet we had Set, right?
Yes, we have said
And
who
Set represented the lower self.
some people will say that
Okay.
he according to the story he murdered his brother Saw, and
Correct. Correct.
that like he might be associated with thunderstorm, the desert, and but he also helps Ra. He also protects the bark of Ra, against Apep. You know what I'm saying? So I get you. I understand what you're saying, but I think it's a shortcut to say that secret societies Freemasonry. We probably have secret societies, and what do we mean when we say secret societies? Because we have different population, and they have some rituals, they have some initiation, and we can probably find that maybe South America, in Africa, there's many, and maybe we can find that in Australia as well. But who's going to argue in Australia they are practicing Freemasonry? I mean, whatever indigenous tribe anywhere in the world, who's going to argue that whenever they have this ritual and they're initiating people, that's Freemasonry? Like in Africa, for example, Nelson Mandela, Rohilala Mandela, um, he talks about his initiation. When he
He
was
was a prince
circumcised.
all. He was a prince all Freemason.
No, but that's later on. But early in his
Yes.
life, when he was
Yes.
a young man, he talked about his initiation and how he was circumcised. Who will argue that this was
Oh, that's more like
Freemasonry?
a rite of passage, though.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
some
but
people
but
would
they just
say,
call it initiation.
yeah.
You
But
get what I,
some people,
it's it's similar. It's similar. I agree. It's
it's
similar.
similar. But some people might say, it's within a secret society. Some people might disagree with that, but some
No,
people might argue that.
that wasn't in a secret society. That was a cultural thing for them.
All right.
For like Nelson Mandela to circumcise.
Okay.
So it wasn't like an initiatory process. It's more like a cultural thing, like a rite of
Hmm.
passage. The same
All
way how
right.
some tribes, the men have to prove their worth before they can marry to the woman, or to prove
Mm,
that they are men or whatever. In some
mm,
African tradition, it's a rite of
mm.
passage. It doesn't
Okay.
really mean that way, but I understand what you're saying. But
Mm.
maybe if you dig a little deeper, so to speak, maybe your position might change because like most of these Europeans, they recognize, right? They recognize that Freemasonry, the concept of the judgment. You look at judgment, you see the scale, and we know the scale speaks to Ma'at. That's where it came from.
The judgment is not Freemasonry. You see my point?
No,
Like
yeah, yeah, I understand that.
I'm usually like data based, or
Mhm.
evidence based. So if you can show me in Kemet, people practicing Freemasonry, I'm all ears. So far, you talked about the Pythagorean order, and that will be the late period, the time of the Greeks. But still, I haven't seen anything about that. So you are free to share it with us. But I think we have to be careful. If people want to argue that it comes from Kemet, then let them show me, the rituals or practices from Kemet. Otherwise, how do they know in Kemet they used to practice that?
No, and that's why I asked you about the Ashwa Crazy because he did one named African Origin of Freemasonry, right?
Mm. Yeah, I've seen it. I've
Yeah,
seen it.
that
Like I
was a
said,
that
I've
was a
seen most.
good presentation.
Yeah,
I said
because
before,
because because
you know, yes,
yeah. For example, Ashokwezi, he has a African origin of Christianity, and he will show
correct,
that
correct.
hieroglyphic glyph that looks like a cross, and he'll
Hmm.
put it beside a cross, and some people will feel like, okay, the cross comes from Kemet, but that symbol is one of the symbol that stands for Imi, which means which is in or which is inside, so
I
that
understand.
symbol, yeah, you see, and I remember the other time I think I was on Smash Rock was chat, and somebody said that Ashur Kwesi showed the depiction of Jesus, with the lamb. And I've seen that video. That video is very popular on YouTube. He
Hmm.
says that, he was in a museum and somebody said, what are you doing there? And he said, I'm documenting our stories. There's something can show me. And he said, follow me. And then he took him to a room where the public doesn't go. And then he showed the statue. But Ashur Kwesi, when he had a debate with the pastor,
Hmm.
he said, and and that's a DVD that I've also purchased and I've seen. He
Yeah,
said
I've seen
Jesus
that
did.
one too.
Yeah, he said, I don't know if you remember. He said it was somebody asking him a question. Somebody asked him a question at one point, like, why do you use the Bible so much and stuff like that? And he said at one point Jesus never existed. Jesus didn't exist. He was a spirit in creation. So on the one hand, you're saying he didn't exist, but on the other hand, you're showing a depiction that's allegedly portraying Jesus.
No, but
And
it was showing
and
like a concept though. It was more reflecting a concept though, because Jesus holding the
well,
lamb.
but when he showed the statue, it wasn't a
Yes,
concept, was it?
yes, it's a concept because if I
No,
see,
it's a statue.
no, what I'm saying, if I see a statue of a so-called Jesus holding a lamb,
Hmm.
right? In metaphysics or occult science, I know
Hmm.
that's the sun going through Aries. So that is like astrology or zodiac science.
Mm.
So he was reflecting the concept of it. It's not as if he
Well,
was validating the historicity of that character because Astro
well, you know
Quincy
what?
never did that.
I think we might as well look at the video. I said I'm gonna put, hold on. It's not long. Ashua Kwesi, Jesus. I hope it's not too long because um is it this one? Because I'm gonna have to get ready for work, but I'm gonna see if that's the one. Drop some knowledge. Is it this one? I don't think so. I hope it is still online. But there's one that says Ashukwezi speaks on the temple of Amen and the black Jesus. So um, I want to see if that's the one where he talks about the museum. Oh, that's the one I think. So it's 5 minutes long, so that's okay. I'm going to share the link and we're going to watch together. So share the link. Where's the thing? There. So the link is in the chat, and now I'm going to share the video.
It's at the school of Amen, Ipit Rasut, or Ipit Asut, and other temples where the priests also baptized the initiates once they finished 40 years. This is long before John the Baptist. Now, this temple called Karnak today, or Ipit Asut, as our ancestors called it, going into this temple, as I said, these are temples or books in stone. The pylons are pages of history telling of our story. But as you go into the temple, you see the ram symbolized as Amen. That was the Zoot type as Amen. Now we see Ursa Ma'at Ra, September Ra Mesu Ramari Amen. A little practice, you can say it too. Here we see that was his throne name, as they call Ramsey from Ramesu, is now under the ram, symbolizes Amen. 2,000 years ago, our ancestors worshiped Amen, and his symbol was the ram because the sun was in the constellation of Aries. I show this because let's go to Christian art, and you see the ram in the European Roman Christian art. Why is that ram in their Christian art? Because they were deifying and worshiping Amen. Is this animal worship here? If they have the animal ram represented as Amen in their art and it's not animal worship, why they come into Kemet and say animal worship and pagan and heathen and polytheism and all these other type of negative terms? Let's look at this. When you also go and look at and see the ram or the lamb over, as you see a Roman character of a Jesus here, it looks like. But when you look at that figure with the ram or the lamb over the shoulders, was taken from Kemet when I showed you when the ram or the lamb in ancient Kemet, where the king became one with Amen and the Zoot type was the ram. But let's go over 4,000 years ago to the tomb of Meruka. In the tomb of Meruka of the 6th dynasty over 4,000 years ago, that existed thousands of years ago on your reliefs in the books in stone with the ram or the lamb around his head long before the Roman art. There's a couple reliefs that I want to point out to you just to evoke some thought, because a lot of things I'm going to do is to evoke some thought, to give you some ideas, concepts that were here long before the Western world was even in existence. Meruka, Mastaba Meruka, and this is Teddy. And Meruka is the Grand Vizier or the Tajeti for Teti. All right, so that's very important. So I'm going to show you, yeah, the Tajeti. He's a Tajeti. That means vizier for Teti. Okay, we'll leave it opening in case people have to walk through there. What I'm going to show you here is you see the priest with the ram around his neck. But when we look at Leonardo da Vinci's artwork, you see Leonardo da Vinci's artwork with the lamb or ram around his neck. You can see where the origin of that came from. But this is carved in Merowica's tomb over 4,000 years ago, long before Leonardo da Vinci's European image of the Jesus that you see right here. But even when you look at the European Jesus, let's go see where Leonardo da Vinci copied his European Jesus from. This is one of the oldest pictures I found of Jesus, and it's in England with the lamb or ram around his shoulders. As you see with this relief, goes back over 4,000 years ago, where you are now in Merowica's tomb, to see that this was an ancient spiritual concept. These were the priests who went to school for 40 years. So you see this as
Now, he did indeed say this is the oldest picture of Jesus, which is in a London museum, I think he said. And then he said, indeed, this is a spiritual concept. So it's a bit conflicting. And also, some people might have seen on one of his DVD, I don't think this is available on YouTube, where he shows a painting that shows some Essene, someone from the Essene sect, and on that painting, that is partly a depiction of Jesus, which is made well after his lifetime. He's kind of tan, and some people will feel like this is depicting the black man, and we have that on the website that I have labeled "all black everything." So those who have watched Ashokwesi's DVDs probably remember Ashokwesi talking about Jesus and saying several times he was a political offender. You see, so he's not talking about something spiritual. He's talking about an actual man. So I'm just going to play the rest of the video.
this ancient African origin of the lamb and the ram that's equated with European Christianity and also with the Christ, but they never show you this. I can't say use the word Jesus because that's Greek, but I would have to use the African Hebrew word, and that's Yeshua that you see right here. But the emphasis I want to put on the fact that this is carved in stone, brothers and sisters, thousands of years ago, that ends up in Western European Christianity today. But here's the black man that they never show you, that Leonardo da Vinci copied it directly from African people, that it was thousands of years before Leonardo da Vinci. You see it on the temples of Africa. This is one of the sculptures of Europeans of Jesus as a good shepherd with the lamb around his head. But when I went to England to the museum, the brother saw me with all the equipment and he said, "Brother, what are you all about?" I said, "I'm here to document our story. You got anything in here?" He said, "I'll help you out." He took me in the back room where the tourists don't go. And you know what he showed me? Where they copied it from right here. Wow. Oh, yes, brothers and sisters, huh? It's time for the liberation of your mind now, huh? This is what they got locked up in the museum in England right now today, showing the true African Jesus right here, where the Europeans copied from this one to make their version of it right here. Even Reverend Bar Shango said that Jesus was from the tribe of the Black Panthers. I noticed that there was a Black Panther down by his legs. Huh? Well, I like how y'all did that lean at the same time.
For the
in the
record,
museum in England right now today, showing the true African Jesus right here with a
so he said, showing the true African Jesus, you see. And when he said Teti, that's actually Chati, Vizier. And he says Septep and Ra, it's actually Setep and Ra. And he also said the African Hebrew word, Yeshua, you see. And also those who have watched his DVDs must have known that he shows Kares or Kareset from the nature, but it means, to bury or burial. And he makes a correlation between Kareset and Christ as well. But, feel free to speak, brother. And
Ye- yes.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say that as it relates to this image here, when he said that this is the African Jesus, he's
Hmm.
talking about the concept. He was speaking about the concept because
That's not what he
if you
said, though.
realize, no, at the beginning of the video, he was saying
Yeah.
what the sun going through Aries. He did say that. So he's talking
Okay.
about a zodiac concept. At the beginning of the video, he did say that.
Okay. Well.
So
We
he's
can.
still
We can.
tying that
We
back
can.
in where the concept came
Well.
from.
I mean,
Because
I played the
remember, he
video.
said he
I
said
don't
Jesus
recall.
is Greek.
I don't recall. I don't
No, but
recall
he
him.
stated in the video that Jesus is Greek. He did
Yes,
say that.
and then he mentioned
Correct.
the
So he's
African
just
Hebrew
showing.
word Yeshua. I mean, there's no such thing as the African Hebrew,
Correct.
but
I understand that, but he
yeah.
was saying this is the African Jesus, right? Because he's talking about the concept, but he made it clear that Jesus is Greek. He did that in the same video.
No,
I'm
I
just saying
understand about Jesus, but he showed that this is the true African Jesus. But
that
I
which is
mean,
the
it's
concept.
fine.
The concept. He was speaking
Right.
about the concept in
Yeah,
particular
that's
of
what
the
you're
ram,
saying,
of the
but that's
person
fine.
holding the ram on the
That's
back
fine.
of the head.
I don't recall him saying. I mean, I can play it back, but
That's
people
fine.
have the
That's
link.
fine.
But there's another thing I wanted to say, but I actually forgot. I've lost my thought. Um, I've lost my thought.
No, that's fine. I
But
mean, listen,
mm,
I'm not gonna say he's infallible, but
mm.
I'm gonna say that there are some things that we can learn from him too, and even
Yes,
Dr.
yes,
Ben.
yeah. Of course, he's been going there for 40 years, I think. So he he went there when back then you could film in the Cairo
Hmm.
Museum and other
Hmm.
places as well. When I went to the Cairo Museum, we were not even allowed to film, not even to take pictures, by the way. But
Hmm.
recently, I think that has changed, and they're coming with a new
Okay.
museum. But
Hmm.
there are some things that needs to be corrected, and correction doesn't mean disrespect.
Understood. Agreed.
Or yes,
Agreed.
and because some things have been repeated over and over again, and it's
Hmm.
just not accurate. So yeah, that's all, and then we're gonna get clarity. We have to be as accurate as possible, and it doesn't hurt anybody to say, okay, I said that before. Actually, it was that, I'm saying, even if they don't want to say I was wrong or I was inaccurate,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
yeah, there's a lot of things that are said and claimed, so you know,
I mean,
but
Dr. Ben.
have you seen him when he said, have you heard him saying, Jesus was a political offender?
Yes. According
Was he
to the
talking about the
story,
spirit?
yes. Huh?
Was he talking about the spirit?
No, he was talking about the concept. The
Okay,
concept.
okay, okay,
No,
all right.
because it is a concept. It's not a historical character. They can prove that. I
You
hear
know,
all of them saying that
somebody says Jesus was a political offender. To me,
they
it's not a
it's
concept.
a
He's talking
concept.
about a
Yes,
historical
because
person.
that's why it's called allegory. It's called allegorical.
Hmm.
So it's a
Yeah, I
story
mean,
that conveys a hidden
okay,
meaning to it.
okay. Well, I haven't heard him saying the concept. He's just showing a
Yeah,
human being, a
no,
depiction of a
he
human
did
being.
say concept of
Okay.
Jesus, whatever. But if you follow the story, if you
Hmm,
follow the story of Jesus, of
hmm,
course he was. He broke every rule. He never conformed. Of course, he was a political offender.
hmm.
They actually charged him according
No,
to the
but
story.
if you're talking about a political offender,
Hmm.
it's like you're talking about a historical person,
Understood,
but yeah,
understood.
yeah,
But there's also
you know.
abstract ideas that was conveyed as well.
Mm. Because
People
if
call
you
it.
show a statue that has black feature, and by the way, we don't have any reference for that statue. He says somebody took him down. I don't know the date of the statue. I
Hmm.
don't know the place of origin of the statue. You know, and it would be good for him to to provide the references. It's like the one for Hannibal, allegedly Hannibal on the coin. But yes, if you show a depiction, a physical depiction of someone, whether it is a painting or a statue, then when you're not talking about a concept. But I get your point. But brother,
Yeah,
I'm gonna prepare for work. I'm very
no
happy
problem.
that you came on this platform, and
No,
always
give
feel free to
thanks.
come back again. All
Give
right.
thanks. Will do. No
All right.
problem. Take it easy.
Oh, that's it. All right, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna put it into the live stream. Stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to by the nature, I will definitely holler back at you. Hotel.
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay. So those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hana Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Neture classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Neture class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.